Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm very excited to be joined today by PaulBernard, Jaroslawski, president of FreightCaviar and co-founder of ShipperCRM.com. Paul and I are both in this supply chain software as a service arena, and I know that many of you out there work in technology or also in capital funding within technology in this space. So I was looking forward to having him on the show today. How are you doing today, Paul?
Andy, I just got healthy after being sick for a week, so I'm doing great. I have all this energy and I'm motivated to get back into work. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on with me. I'm glad to hear you're on the mend. It's always a struggle catching up after something like that, isn't it?
Totally.
Absolutely. Well, just to kick things off, I want to thank our sponsor, CyberFuels. If you're looking to save 26 to 95 cents per gallon of fuel while reducing emissions at combustion, please be sure and click on that link below. So today, you and I, Paul, we're going to be talking about leveraging media to grow a SaaS platform. To give our audience a little background, so can you tell us a little bit about your professional journey, what led up to FreightCaviar, and then ShipperCRM.com?
Sure. Andy, I began my career in logistics in Chicago. I graduated from U of I in 2015. My fraternity brother, his father owned a brokerage in Lincolnwood, Illinois, called Trek Freight. And I essentially got the job after graduating with a psych degree from U of I. I was thinking that I want to go do my master's in psychology and kind of go down some like that route. But at that point, I really just wanted to also begin a career somewhere. I just wanted to make some money and see if maybe I could make something of myself. So when I got the position of being an entry-level freight broker, I took it. I was happy. I was 21. I finally got a paycheck each month, and then I left that company after a year, and I went to a company called Everest Transportation Systems out of Evanston, Illinois. It was a small brokerage, only about 8 people, and the owners had this idea of wanting to open up an office in Ukraine. They had family ties in Ukraine, and they saw the opportunity to basically outsource employees, carrier sales reps, trackers, account managers out to Ukraine, just to be able to grow their company. As we all know now, nearshoring and outsourcing is relatively common in the industry. This was back in 2017. It was still before that like COVID spike that really caused that nearshoring outsourcing boom. But so I was 24 at that time. I was single. My grandparents live in Poland, and I used to travel to Poland all the time. So I was like, hey, I'll move to Ukraine. I'll open up an office for you guys. So they sent me out to Ukraine. I lived there for 3 years, from November 2017 to November 2020. I built up an office from 4 people to 100. I was the only American there running the whole show. I loved it. I mean, I learned a lot. We worked on the US market for freight brokerage, all from Ukraine. And then I ended up just getting burnt out, and I'm like, it's time to do something new. So I quit, and I started my own brokerage. That was the whole idea behind it. But I never really enjoyed it. I realized that it's a lot more difficult to actually run a brokerage compared to just thinking you could run a brokerage. And that's kind of my mindset when I was working at my previous employer. I was like, I could do this. But then I ended up doing it, and I'm like, I don't really like it. But in the meantime, I was just having fun on Instagram, making freight memes from all that, the time of spending working as a freight broker, running a team. And FreightCaviar was literally just memes, and it kind of took off. And I got this audience built up of like young brokers in the industry that enjoy my content. And I'm like, well, I have this audience now. Let's see if I can make anything of it. Ended up getting some sponsors like a year ago. And then kind of transitioned into media company where I have sponsors that sponsor me. So I have a newsletter that goes out 3 times a week, and I have a weekly podcast. So it just it came out of nowhere, and I've liked the growth I've seen, and it's been a lot of fun kind of transitioning from being a broker and knowing that to running a media company. And that's I guess like that's where I'm at right now. I run FreightCaviar, and we just came out with an application, ShipperCRM.com.
Right. Yeah, I've caught your coverage over the last couple of years, and you've been on with some FreightWaves folks I've seen, and grown the FreightCaviar following. And it's, and I'm in the same kind of space. We do media coverage. We interview executives, of course, and it's really helped with business development in a big way. I mean, it just absolutely helps to get your coverage out there, to have what's called social selling these days. I think it just works because people get to know you and what you're about and what you're doing. And it's been really, really helpful. So
Totally.
yeah, absolutely. So I love your coverage, love what you guys are doing. And on the ShipperCRM.com SaaS platform front. So you saw an unfulfilled need in the market, decided to launch the company while also continuing with your media coverage. Can you tell us about your experiences and how it's led to new business opportunities?
Definitely. So we had this audience built up for FreightCaviar, and I was talking to Charlie Dahoney. I'm not sure if you know him, but he's pretty well known. And he was like, Paul, you should take your audience and do something with it, and in the sense of like selling a product to them. And I've always thought of that, and I've always kind of seen FreightWaves be kind of a staple of that, where they have sonar, but then they have the whole media front, and the media is their lead generation tool. And like one conversation led to another, and I got connected with my business partner on Twitter. It was really random, and we ended up getting connected, and we ended up talking to our business partner and an investor, and our business partner and investor came up with the idea for ShipperCRM, and he's like, you guys should do this. And at that point, my technical partner was like, Paul, go on your Instagram and put an Instagram story out asking if people would want this product, they'd be interested in it. And I put out one Instagram story, and we received, I believe, around 200 people gave us their email address saying they'd be interested in this product, being a customer. And right there, my technical business partner was shocked. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you have 200 people. We have 200 people that signed up for this product," and it already gave us right away. We understood that there's a need for this product, for a CRM for people to use that is more freight broker centric and just for the logistics industry, plus the ability to request customer information, shipper information directly from your CRM. Kind of bridging Zoom Info and HubSpot in one. And so the power of like having the media side was we were able to test it out with just one simple question on our Instagram story. Will you want to use this? And then we got a flood of emails that people said yes. And then nowadays, I don't do any, it's still relatively new, so I might be doing this later on, but at the current moment, we have demos scheduled throughout the whole week. And those demos are just from people going on our website because of FreightCaviar and signing up for the demo. Same thing, they go on my LinkedIn profile, and there's like a link right there in the main profile saying, sign up for our demo today. And because of the sheer amount of people that follow me and look at my content, people come to us, which is unbelievable, which is what, SaaS companies are hiring and spending lots of money just to get the marketing done and just to have a salesperson. And we seem to have that all in one, and for free, essentially, because of the platform built up through FreightCaviar.
Right, absolutely. That's a great sign. When you've got that many people queued up, interested, that's a really good sign. With our SaaS platform, I talked to some people that I'd worked with large fleets, and I said, what do you think about this idea? And one of them said, are you looking for investors? So I thought, okay, well, I think I'm on something probably. This guy has over 1,000 truck fleet. So anyways, it's but I think it's a really good idea to ping your audience and see what the interest level might be. And it sounds like you guys have a high amount of demand coming inbound, which is always what you want, right?
Definitely. And it's exciting for us, and everyone's looking to get more customers, especially in this environment that we're in. Everyone needs more shippers. So it's ShipperCRM.com. It's the number one tool to get more shippers. So it's also that kind of selling point right there. It's like, we'll help you get more business.
Absolutely. So, regarding ShipperCRM.com, what are some of the key challenges you're helping clients address?
Well, in sales, if you're in sales, that you have to stay organized and you need to have contact information. And essentially, we're bridging those two together, where it's like, if you want to close more sales, you got to be on top of your potential customer list has to be organized. You have to input everything into a system. If you're a successful salesperson, you're more than likely going to be using some form of CRM at the current moment, or you're using an Excel spreadsheet that's detailed out for your given needs. But having an application, having a tool that's simply freight broker centric, or even just logistics centric, will give you that more of, I guess, ability to be better organized about your clientele. And at the same time, we also have a very simple user interface, which is nice and clean. I kind of feel like if you go to other CRMs, they're kind of convoluted. Too many things are going on because they're generic CRMs. Whereas we just dialed in, we're like, this is going to be for freight professional salespeople. We don't want others to be using it because we want it to be specifically made for those people. And then the second thing is a lot of people waste their time, or they spend a lot of money getting contact information for shippers. They go to ZoomInfo and they'll spend thousands of dollars. Whereas we're like, hey, we could get contact information for a much lower cost, and we could provide that to you. So not only will you be saving money, but you're also going to be saving time, because instead of going through various outlets to get that information, we'll provide it to you directly inside of the database. So therefore, we're keeping you organized, and we're saving you time by giving you the contact information instead of you having to go elsewhere and saving money at the same time.
Absolutely. This reminds me of going back to like the late 1990s. I worked for a consulting company that helped companies go global, right? They sent me all over the world. I worked in 9 countries altogether. But we had this conference room with more than one. There were 4 whiteboards with our top prospects, what was going on with each one. And we would come in there and talk about each one. And then I told them, I've used CRM for years, and I think we need to organize this and start following up with people routinely, right? And they're like, yeah, okay, we'll try it, right? Then we had 6 sales engineers. They were literally engineers that were like reaching out to people. And we increased that supply chain practice by 250% in 2 years.
Wow, it's amazing.
But it's just because you've got tools right in front of you to know who's due for what and who you should be following up with and what the details are. And man, I don't know what you would do these days without one. I mean, like you said, you could have a really detailed Google sheet or a Microsoft Excel sheet, but it gets unruly after a while. It really does. So having it all in one place with business intelligence, man, it's a game changer. It is just a game changer for sure.
Yeah, no, it helps greatly. And if you're not using a CRM right now, even if it's not ShipperCRM, go use a CRM. To stay organized.
100%. Absolutely. We've got hundreds of companies we follow up with different things and different stages of, and man, I couldn't live without one. Frankly, I wouldn't want to. I could, but it would be ugly, basically.
Definitely.
So, well, for those who want to get more information about your work and how to get going, what are the best ways for people to connect with you?
Best ways. So on LinkedIn, my name is PaulBernard Jaroslawski. It's a pretty long name. You could probably find it in the notes here somewhere. You just copy and paste it. I put out a lot of content on Instagram under FreightCaviar. And then you could also follow FreightCaviar Media on Instagram for our latest podcast clips. And then, of course, sign up for our newsletter on FreightCaviar.com 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 a.m. Central. We send out the latest freight news and updates alongside a freight meme. So we also have that. So I highly recommend for everyone to sign up.
Very good. Yep. I never thought about PBJ until you were on with Michael Vincent recently, and I saw that about a week ago, and that's awesome. PBJ, PaulBernard Jaroslawski. Be sure and find him out there on LinkedIn, and through FreightCaviar, I've really enjoyed following your content. It's been really good. So this final question is one that I ask all of my guests. What would you say as a final word of advice for our friends out there listening or watching today?
I would say, what's been really important for me is just to get started. And if you look at the progression of FreightCaviar, it was getting started, being consistent and staying patient, because I've been building out this audience for over 2 years. And I first started off with just Instagram, making memes. Then I started a podcast, and I started a newsletter. Then it kind of spiraled into various things. But what I would say is I was focused on one, I did it well, and then I moved on to another piece of content. And I would say every time I started, it was bad. Like my first memes were bad. My first podcast was bad. My first newsletter was bad. But all just getting started and having that repetition where like don't be embarrassed about your first time, because at the end of the day, like not that many people will pay attention the first time anyway. You're going to have a lot of at bats. You're going to get better every time. So just get started and keep going. Stay patient and be consistent.
100% agree. You know, we started our podcasting about 2 years ago. When I look back on my early podcasts, I'm like, ugh, that was so bad, man.
Yeah.
But if you stay consistent and you're out there providing valuable insights, news, executive insights like you're providing here, you know, your audience will build and grow, you know, and it does take time to build. I wouldn't recommend it be the only thing you're doing for business development, right? But it definitely, once it snowballs like a snowball rolling down a hill, right? At some point, you get inbound, and it does take time. It takes time. Build it up, no doubt. Well, I appreciate you coming on with me, Paul. It's been fun talking with you, getting to know you offline, and then talking with you. So thanks for coming on and sharing your insights today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure. That's going to do it for our show today, everyone. Thanks for listening or watching, and we will see you again soon. Take care.